Good morning, guys. It's Grace. Happy Friday and happy weekend. Start to your weekend. I hope you all have a great weekend. I have BC here with me, and he's been absent for a while. I'm pretty sure for the last few of my videos he hasn't been here. So if you missed him, he's back. Today's video is going to be about an article I found on Mental Floss, which I will link to in the description. It is about a mule who, her name is Tina, and she lives in Fort Hood, Texas. She has 12 years of Army experience and was part of the Fort Hood Military Base's 1st Cavalry Division Horse Detachment for most of her life. She is now up for adoption. She is retiring, and they're trying to find people to who might want to adopt her to give her a forever home where she can spend her retirement. She has assisted in parades, weapons demonstrations, cavalry charges, and color guard. She has no dietary needs or health problems and enjoys coastal Bermuda hay and pasture grass. The only other donkey she's been paired with is her sister Dolly, who died of bone cancer in 2018. So her new owners might want to be a little cautious about pairing her with another mule. And if you are interested, you can email 1cdhorsecavalrydetachment@gmail.com, which I will link. I will type that out for you guys to see in the description also. Email them by March 7th to get an application packet and instructions on how to continue. The reason I chose this to talk about today for my video was because I think that because I personally can't adopt her. I don't own horse property, and I would get in trouble for having her on my property because there's not enough room, and you know, all the things that go into doing that. But I think if you can adopt her and you are dedicated enough to take care of her, that you should do it, because she needs a new home, and adopting animals is super important, in my opinion. All of my animals are adopted except for my fish and my dog TJ, who died in September of last year. Out of every other animal I own, though, is adopted. And it's super important because buying dogs or cats or whatever you might be buying, you're probably buying something that is going to have no problem finding a home. But the animals in pounds or, you know, stuff like that aren't going to have as big of a opportunity to get adopted. And sorry, BC's walking around, so I'm watching him to make sure he doesn't pee in my room, because he likes to do that. Anyways, so if you're looking to adopt a dog or cat, I think you should go to the pound first. This is kind of a PSA video about doing stuff like that, because like I said, they're cheaper to buy. First off, dogs at the pound, they won't give you the dog or cat unless they're fixed. They won't give them to you unless they're chipped, and they get their shots and stuff like that. And so that takes a lot of the hard part out for you. However, if you buy from a breeder, depending on who the breeder is, you might have to get the animal fixed yourself. You're gonna probably have to deal with the shots, and it's gonna cost way more. And the ones at the pound are, honestly, Delilah came from the pound, and she's one of the sweetest dogs. She does bark here and there, I'll give you that, but she barks at people she doesn't know, and it's more of a thing towards us, you know, because she loves us. She is just making sure kind of thing. But once she gets to know somebody, she's the sweetest dog ever. She's never bit anybody. She's never, you know, scratched, attacked anybody. And we got her from the pound. Gator and Sweets came from the streets. Gator's a little bit scared of people, but Sweets is tied with Delilah for the sweetest dog ever. You know, Sweets, she just loves everybody. So I think that going to the pound would be a very good option for people who are adopting. If you're looking to get something other than a dog or a cat, there's lots of people who want to get rid of animals. The snake that me and my friend own together that lives here, we got from a friend who didn't want her anymore, and so he just gave us her. So that's kind of like the turtle. My turtle also came from a situation like that where somebody just didn't want him anymore. And you know, I think that would be a better option than going to, you know, a breeder who is going to sell you. I get that you might want a specific breed or a specific more for whatever animal, but they're going to be so much more expensive, and there's so many dogs and cats and snakes out there that need homes that don't have any. And I think that personally it's a better option, just because you may not get the specific breed of dog that you want. At least you know you're helping a different dog that might not have gotten a home otherwise, you know. BC, if we didn't adopt BC, he'd be outside right now, you know. And if you live in the area I live in, it's been very rainy and it snowed a little bit yesterday, and I can't imagine what it would be like for him to be out there in the cold and wet by himself, you know. Well, he'd have Kiki, but, you know, both of them being out there by themselves like that, I can't imagine either of them being out there. And just because they're not, you know, some high-end breed of cat doesn't mean anything, you know. I get the satisfaction of knowing that I helped them, you know, brought them into a better place to live, and, you know, they're not having to fight the weather conditions that they might, or, you know, anything else like other cats or birds or, you know, stuff like that. They're safe in the house together, you know. BC, something he likes to do is, I have a heater in my room, and every time it's on, he sits in front of it and he just doesn't move for hours on end. And he does it in my mom's room too. She has a heater in there and he sits in front of it, doesn't move. He sits there for hours, unless you make him move or you turn it off, then he might move, because I turned mine off before I started recording. But, you know, he clearly likes, you know, the heat, and thinking like, oh, he would be out there in the cold right now if I didn't, you know, take him in and adopt him. It's just such a nice feeling to know what I did for him, or what my family did for him. And you can do that for an animal as well. Instead of paying hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars to get a specific breed, you can go pay maybe less than $100 to get a dog from the pound that is just as sweet, just as cute, and you saved them, and, you know, are going to give them a better life, instead of, because some of them might have gotten killed, you know, or some of them who may not have made it to the pound, you know, you never know what could have happened to them. Like Gator and Sweets were both found on the street, not the pound, and only God knows what would have happened to them if we didn't take them in. So it's just a very heartwarming feeling to know what you could do for an animal. And so I think that if you can adopt Tina, that you should. If you have the means and the knowledge and the love in your heart to do that, I think you should. if you are looking for a dog or a cat, I strongly encourage you to go to a pound instead of a breeder. I've even seen guinea pigs at the pound before, so if you want a guinea pig or something, or a bunny, they have horses at the pound. I would recommend going to those kind of, like the pound, to even look for those kind of animals before you go to a breeder or a pet store or something like that. Fish, if you look around, people will say, like, I don't want my fish anymore, you know, like, you can have it for free with everything that comes with it, you know, or you can have it for cheap with everything that comes with it. You know, just save an animal. If you are planning on buying an animal and you have means and everything necessary to do so, check other places before you just go straight to a breeder or like PetSmart or Petco or a big store like that. Check the pound and check, you know, around first before you do all that. So that's my PSA for today. If you have any questions about anything that I've said, make sure to comment that below. I stand strongly behind my opinions on this, and I hope you guys agree with me, and if you don't, maybe just take it into consideration, or if you've never had an opinion on it before, you know, take what I've said to you into consideration, maybe form an opinion on that. But I'm not bagging on anybody who buys from breeders. If that's what you want to do, by all means. It's just, I think it would be a lot better for you and whatever animal you end up getting if you rescue one instead of buying from a breeder. So by all means, do what you want. You're not a bad person by any means for buying from a breeder or, you know, anything like that. It's just, I feel like a better option for, you know, I don't know if I'd say everybody, but, you know, the animal you're going to save if you do save or rescue. So if you have any questions or comments about anything I've said in the video, feel free to comment that below. The article about Tina and the email to contact if you are interested in adopting her will also be in the description. Don't forget to like, comment about anything you feel like commenting about, and subscribe. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you guys on Monday.